guys, welcome back to the letter. This is TJ Gamer Girl signing on. Last episode, just shit hit the fan. Shit majorly hit the fan. And basically Luke found us, and now the spirit has Hana right at the top of the stairs in the foyer, with her hands around her neck, and I'm pretty sure if she's not going to choke her out, she's gonna push her. It's gonna be one thing or the other. That woman might be dying. And there may be nothing we can do to help that. To say that I'm scared of what's happening is a gross understatement. Trouble of any sort is the last thing I want to get home to after a long day at work and a trip to the bar. When I see Hana near prostrate, I can only feel dread. She twitches and seizes, body wound and wound and coiled tight before thrashing and shuddering and shaking. Like a woman possessed, her mouth falls open and her eyes roll to the back of her head. It has the hallmark signs of a seizure. The symptoms are similar enough. And not knowledge. The fact that I know this only makes me feel worse. Any anger I had caused by our disagreement of parting ways, no matter how temporary she claimed it to be, disappeared. The alcohol-induced daze that I felt was brushed aside as I run to help her. None of that mattered at the moment. But to hold her close is all I can do while she thrashes about. I know this is wrong, that I'm not supposed to hold her down, yet I do out of instinct, reflex even. I'm terrified of hurting her, but I see no other way to keep Hana from hurting herself. It takes a lot to keep myself from running off to get help when she needs me here. And it takes everything I have to keep myself intact. When she says my name, I realize seizures have stopped. That doesn't make the dread go away.
Luke, please.
What happened here? Who did this to you?
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
The sight of her tear-streaked face is enough to twist the knife in. It does not help that I am as lost as she is right now. And all I can say is...
Shh, it's all right. You're safe now, Hana. You're safe now.
It takes a bit to go through the house with my inebriated self. That's even made worse by the fact that I had to carry a nearly unconscious person as well. I was about to give up too, until Stroken shows up to lighten the load. He quietly takes her from me without question and brings her up to the bedroom. And me? Well, I couldn't bring myself to follow. Not right now. Not while I'm drunk and rattled by what had transpired. It's a miracle I was able to help at all. So here I am, sulking in a parlor chamber with a glass of wine in hand. Can't even remember what particular vintage it is, and I practically did not care right now.
Because when you're already drunk and still have problems, even more alcohol should help.
Of course, the butler chooses now to appear and be unhelpful.
You know what actually solves all problems? Death. But it is not recommended. Alcohol isn't a true solution either.
It's worked well enough for me.
I like to believe that I get my best ideas while I'm thoroughly hammered. Not everyone might agree, but they can't really do anything about it, can they? With a fuck ton of money comes great power. Sometimes responsibility. And with that responsibility comes a lot of reasons to get drunk. Of course, I could just tell responsibility to sod off if I was feeling reckless. And Christ, I must really be drunk if I'm thinking in circles. I just need something to focus on, and I should be fine.
How is she? Is she alright?
Okay, Luke's drunk voice is amazingly funny. Is she alright? If panic crept into my voice at the question, I don't let it show. It would be a show of weakness to be so frazzled, to show so much concern over a woman who's going to put me aside. People like him who work for me, I trust with business, but not with myself. Never with that. Only Hana has come so close. Only she has truly seen the man beneath the facade. Only her actions can wound me so.
Sleeping. Aside from a few bumps and bruises, she seems to be fine. A maid is watching over her for now. It is best not to leave her alone. But, if I may ask, what happened? I was in the gardens when I heard screaming. Did you...
No, it wasn't me.
I'm quick to be on the defensive. Honestly, I'd probably believe him. He's not that much of a douche. He's like, for what reason would he have to kill Hana? Just to get rid of her? A divorce would be less messy. I may be capable of a lot of horrible things, but I would never harm her of all people, no matter how angry I might become. I would never lay a hand on her to hurt her.
I didn't do anything. I wouldn't do anything like that. I don't even have a reason to.
You don't consider her wanting to be a part as reason?
It isn't. Well, it is. I don't want to talk about it right now. But what happens was I got home. She was seasoned in the kitchens. Is she ill?
Not that kind of doctor. But I've already scheduled your physician for a house call tomorrow morning. We'll still have to monitor her as soon as she wakes up and...
Oh god, things are coming back to me. I need a drink.
Really? You're still drinking?
Why, yes, it seems to be the bloody best time to be drinking. I'm allowed, aren't I? After all, I've just found my wife having a seizure, and I shouldn't give two shits about it. Not when she's about to leave me.
But I do. Goodness, I do. This might actually be... The thought of her leaving might actually be the thing he needs to snap out of it. Maybe. Fix himself up and become an actual man. A big, generous gulp just makes it so that the taste of cherries, raspberries, and strawberries wash over my tongue. The thing too sweet considering its deceptively earthy aroma. The Veln's Vineyard Seasoned Red isn't really something to scoff at. I've had many good memories with this particular drink. This particular bottle, in fact, was a gift. It serves the purpose Lady Blairnot had given it to me for, to forget. All the same, whether I took this bottle or a Pinot Noir, it is just a means to an end. I'll probably have to finish the whole bottle to get drunker than I already am.
But no, she doesn't need to be taken care of. If she wants her time apart, she'll have it.
It'll break my heart to just let her go, but she deserves this much, doesn't she? We both deserve this much. I'd be a hypocrite if I don't let her go. Besides, Daisy would laugh her arse off, would be filled with horrible pity if she knew. I'm not supposed to let someone else define me, and I refuse to let her go. I'd be forcing myself to define her.
She's had her uses.
She's done a lot for me in the 7 years we've been together. I pursued her at first for the money. It was supposed to be strictly business. There might have been a time, too, when I considered taking her out of the picture so I can do whatever with the money as I pleased. I'd planned to manipulate her, and I feel horrible thinking about it. But along the way, I changed. If only for her. Perhaps my father would scoff, tell me I've gone soft. Maybe I have. Does it matter? 7 long years. It's ups and downs, and it certainly hasn't been a perfect marriage. We had our fights, who hasn't? But those small moments where we could just laugh and be our happy selves were always magical. They made all these years worth it, and I had seen so many more years to come. So where did I go wrong? I've only loved 2 women in my life. Mother dear, bless her soul. And Hana, who's been my sunshine for so long. Losing her, I fear that I might become more like my father. Had Damien Wright stayed with Mother, or any of the other numerous women he's had a child with, he would have been less of an inebriated shell of a man. Would he have a darling love in his life But having a darling love in his life made him a better person. Perhaps it's bias of me to doubt so. I don't think I can ever see the old man in a favorable light.
I'm just surprised that you're not afraid. She might be leaving with delicate information.
Oh, she might know something. But if she hasn't done anything with the knowledge for this long, I don't think she would do anything now. If she had even an inkling of what I've done, what I'm capable of, she'll know it's not a good idea. Hana's a smart woman.
Smart, kind, hardworking, generous, loyal. I could go on and wax poetic about her if I had any talent with the stuff.
Why don't you sit down and have a drink with me? Don't worry, it's not poisoned or anything.
Lonely? Oh, I suppose there's no harm.
With a shake of my head, I procure another glass and pour some of the red wine. Watching the liquids fascinating all on its own with my muddled brain that I barely noticed sloshing some of it and staining my suit. It'd be an utter bugger to clean, so I'm glad that isn't my problem. Handing it over, I can't help but look up at the ceiling and let out a sigh. My eyes damp, glaze over, though I won't let it go further than that. Raising my own glass for a toast, I clear my throat.
We drink to... Do we really need a reason to? The world is messed up. War, terrorism, famine, poverty, loved ones and love lost. The world is a cesspool. Might as well be drunk if we're going to drown in it.
A bit less eloquent than your usual speeches, but zum Wohl.
A sip. A gulp. Refill. Rinse and repeat until the bottle of Veln has barely a fifth left. I must have drunk most of it because I barely see Shroken take a sip after his first glass. Certainly feels that way. I don't think I can even stand up, let alone walk. I'm all legless. My mind just feels so funny and everything else is equally hilarious. Bloody hell, I can make out faces of a bald man on the wallpapers. With the butler also standing up, he looks like a skyscraper for where I'm seated.
Jesus Christ, I have Sasquatch as a butler.
I have a great alcohol tolerance, so this, seeing how I'm a giggling wreck right now, I assume, is really bad. If there's any sober part left to me, it'd probably shrivel up and die just thinking of the hangover that'll come in the morning. But I can't help but get distracted at the sight of moonlight peeking through the curtains, shiny and shimmery and absolutely splendid. Even if the night brought calm. It is the moon that has always enamored me so. It is a second sun, but just as beautiful as my sunshine.
I want to go out and look at the moon. Mommy, I can't feel my legs.
Can't feel my legs.
Mutter, I am not. Don't tell me I have to carry you upstairs to bed.
I didn't even do nothing. I did my best to behave decent. Whiskey and Mint are just good friends, that's all. And that Rochelle woman's baby isn't mine. I swear, I couldn't love any other woman than Hana.
I'm sorry, it's just... And that other one is what kid isn't mine. Just... So this must be after the party. Well, yeah, it was... Hana got attacked. Not long after she... Yeah.
Miss Pink is right. I don't know how she can even put up with me. She deserves far better than me. But... Hana must be so tired. I'm a brat, aren't I? She said as such. I don't want Hana to leave me, Joe. Oh God, she's the love of my life, you know? I'm a shy human being without her. I should... Flowers. Lots and lots of flowers. All of the flowers. Enough to make the Queen's Gardens look like a fucking dumpster fire in comparison.
All well and good, but you are not achieving any of that while you are lying on the carpet. Now, if you can lift your skinny ass and work with me. 1, 2, 3.
But I don't want to go to bed. The moon is so pretty tonight.
I should just let you sleep on the ground, Bratwurst.
conflicted again. He's pretty much cold-hearted assassin, but I just love his quips. I am so conflicted. This must be what it feels like to be in love with a freaking yandere. Just absolute conflicted feelings. Although instead of being in love, it's like trying to call someone the best character in the game. Oh, look at all the pretty lights just flying about. It wouldn't surprise me if he was seeing that while he was drunk too.
Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty face from day to day. Come on, Mummy, wake up. I want to be in that play. Mummy, wake up. You promised that you'd help me practice my lines today. The auditions are tomorrow, so I have to practice. The last syllables of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lighted fools. The way to Dusty. Mummy, are you...
I choke back a scream and wake up in a cold sweat. With my heart pounding in my ears, it takes a while to remember where I am. In the dark and cold of the room, one can't fault me for feeling at ease. It isn't as bright as the penthouse, and the renovations did little to change how old it feels. We've been here for less than a week. It'll take a bit more time to adjust. It's hard to feel cozy here when I'm bloody freezing. Nudging the lump of fabric next to me, I sigh.
It's cold. Don't hug the sheets, Hana.
She always did this, though it hardly bothers me. Growing up, I was lucky to have something to use as a mattress. I'm not the one who grew up accustomed to Egyptian cotton with a thread count of 800. Besides, the warmth that Hana exuded on her own is usually enough to keep me sleeping through the night. The temperature tonight must be something else with how chilly it is right now. I must be considerate. After all, the poor dear is ill. Though I loathe to think about what had just transpired.
Don't make me pull those sheets off you. That blanket is large enough to cover an elephant. You need to share.
It takes a while.
What was that, honey? Apologies. I'm just in the loo, so if you can give me a moment.
Wait. She's in the bathroom? There's no sign that they'll be moving where they lie. With care, I go for a knife hidden under the side of my bed. It'd be foolish of me to instigate anything while I'm unarmed, after all. To pull back the covers would be a more difficult affair, because reaching out to uncover who was underneath, I have to prepare for anything and assume the worst. So if I so much as see the nozzle of a gun, there's going to be a murder tonight. I know they say not to bring a knife to a gunfight, but I can sink a blade in his liver faster than he can point and aim. I see the rise and fall of the sheets, though it could easily be mistaken as the fault of the breeze. I hear their breathing. A great sense of foreboding comes over me, making me hesitate with my plan. I should just get Hana and myself out of here, not look back, and let security handle it. That's what they're here for. Or maybe I should just man up. There's no way I'm risking the chance that inaction will put Hana in danger. But what's the worst that could happen, right? I have no reason to be afraid. There's no boogeyman under the bed, no monster in my closet. If anything, these things should be afraid of me. Right? I grab a fistful of sheets and throw them aside. Nothing. Nothing but a bunch of pillows stare back at me. Must be my imagination. I'd rather not think I'm going mad. It could very well be the stress getting to me, all this drama with Hana. I've been doing well all these years, all things considered. Guess I do have a breaking point. But still, the world goes on even if one cannot, and I must go along with it. I suppose a day or two tomorrow wouldn't hurt. A day off or two tomorrow wouldn't hurt. Rest, aside from a few hours of sleep, will be welcome. More than. But I can't shake off the unease. I dare say that I feel afraid, irrationally so, that something will come creeping and crawling from under the bed, even as I lay back down and close my eyes. The odd dreams don't linger, thankfully. But with the morning comes another disturbance. Both too loud and too sharp for my tastes. I have very fine tastes. With the piercing rings of a doorbell, each reaches even the bedroom, I'm very much inclined to think the person who built this place lacks any sense of it. Perhaps the only good thing Oh, shut up. Sheesh. Hang on. Sorry about that. Perhaps the only thing good in this is that the ruckus has chased away the needling guilt from last night's commotion. If only temporary. Still, it's a bloody annoying distraction. I can already tell that it's going to be a long day. Hasn't even started. Before the racket lasts another minute, I'm peeling myself off the bed and heading straight for the main door. There will be a murder today if this doesn't let up. How quaint. It seems everything in this blasted universe is intent on getting on my nerves as of late.
God and Bennett! Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour!
Sorry about that. In the first place, I shouldn't be the one doing this. This is why I hired a valet, for fuck's sake.
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
I'll be honest, if only for today. With the mansion as quiet at this hour of the morning, it's easy to believe those little ghost stories might be real. But the only horror here is how long Hana's patience with me will last after the incident at the party. Neither the deafening silence nor the biting chill spreading across every room in the place. There's no place for fear when another set of problems already burns that fuel. So I wait for another second. When no butler still answers my call, I simply yank his doors open myself, perhaps with more force than needed. And maybe it should be appropriately there, considering the person on the other side and the hour he dared appear on my doorstep. Even someone with half a brain knows not to disturb anyone this early. Brief confusion quickly gives way to anger, and before the bloody photographer can even get a word in, I'm hurling venom at him. It's less than he deserves, really. Hana will disapprove, scold me for treating the photographer with such disrespect, if she hears me right now. She seems fond of him, after all, despite meeting him only once or twice. He's merely doing his job, she'll say. But she's not here, is she? Well, she doesn't know.
You? How the hell did you get in here? What in seven hells do you want? It's bloody 6 in the morning!
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time. Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't.
This is still my home. My rules also apply to this as much as Hana's do. Simple as that.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
It just so happens it's also a person I will never take a liking to. No need for remorse.
Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
He continues shouting even as I slam the door in his face. Some nonsense about the news lately, though I don't understand most of it. However, with the closed doors muffling the better part of it, and with no ears to listen, this tirade doesn't last too long. Eventually he leaves, and the silence once again fills the room, as it should. In hindsight, maybe I should also call for psychiatric services. He certainly sounds mental, just screaming like that. A suspicious man like him left roaming the immediate grounds? Nothing good could come of it. But if his presence will indeed bring a problem, a sign of bad things to come, I'll probably know soon enough. Worst comes to worst, Shulkin will take care of it if need be. That's what I'm paying him for. In the meantime, the bigger problem at hand, I ain't over. Maybe I'll have some absinthe to temper it. Dog hairs. Or some wine to help get me back to sleep. It's still early. One glass won't hurt. Or 2. Or 3. Maybe the entire damn cellar. Whatever the case, I need to think. Wherever that will lead me to. It's nothing. Everything leads to nothing. Except for this pounding headache. As if my mind will burst at any time and leak out of my ears, my vision swims in and out of view. My stomach threatens rebellion, with plans of making me throw up what little food I've taken in, with how my mouth feels, like it's filled with cotton. One would think that the fact that I'm hungover would make me the grumpiest person in the room. But as it is, my eyes move over to Hannah, who is stirring sugar into her tea and scowling down at it, all the while as if it is just to murder a baby in front of her. I have half a mind to bemoan my current state and make a fool of myself just to make her smile. And I'm rather good at bemoaning. Not that I would admit it. I mean, you technically just did, but to the people playing this game. I'm already adopting the posture of a whiny teenager as we speak, slouched forward with my cheek on the table.
Oh, I'm dying. Oh, God, I'm dying. Hannah? Johans, call an ambulance, please. Let it be known that I leave all my belongings to Hannah right knee Evans. Everything but 30,000 quid. But oh, I see a bright light. I see a farm.
Your hangover's not that bad.
Mother dearest, is that you? Little Lucille is on his way home.
Lucille?
I'm so sorry, but I must leave you, Hannah. Cover my face. Your eyes dazzle. I die young.
That much I can manage through the hangover. Nothing entirely of my fault, considering I've drunk twice the night before. Another thing I will never admit. Really, it's a miracle I haven't accrued alcohol poisoning yet.
Oh, stop being so melodramatic, Luke. Besides, you never lived in a farm. You hate farms. We are not bringing you to the hospital for a hangover. Really. One would think you'd be used to it by now with how stubborn you are about your drinks. Dare I ask what the 30,000 quid is for, though?
It pulls a small smile from her for a moment, but the pinched look on her face returns quickly enough.
He lost a bet with Robert and Elise after a night of drinking at the Crawl. 10,000 each. And another 10 to me.
Another 10 to me. The sneer that makes its way on my face doesn't hold as much heat as it usually does. It's just a bit of friendly ribbing. Though I still wish you wouldn't tattle. Of course, it was my fault for mentioning the money. It wasn't like anyone will notice 30 grand missing from millions, though. That's how much I spend on a normal weekend.
Oh, must you be such a teacher's pet? I told you not to talk about it.
I'm having second thoughts about moving to the penthouse. If this is what you do when I'm not looking.
I've almost forgotten about that little art arrangement, too. Shame. Hopefully, that's the reason why she's so intent on glaring at the table until its varnish peels off. The alternative would be sobering.
It was that one time. I'm not a child in need of minding or mother hens. As much as I'd love for you to stay, you said you need some time to yourself. Don't let the fact that I lost a bet once make you think I have to be supervised.
It wasn't. I'm just worried about you, Luke. I'd be less so if you actually sat up.
Why are you worried about me? I'm more concerned about what your doctor told you. How did the house call go?
I didn't want to intrude on her privacy when the doctor arrived. Ridiculous sentiment, considering I am still her husband. But it wasn't like I could have done any good being there, what with nursing a hangover and all. However, a part of me feared what would be said. Not to mention I trust that Hannah would tell me if it is something serious. Of course, it probably is something bad, and I would be a fool to hope otherwise. I found her having a seizure, for God's sake. I should have rushed her to the hospital as soon as she awoke, but it was her insistence that kept me at bay. A cup of tea finds itself in my hands, an attempt to appease me, no doubt. But I don't bother to drink, let alone look up. If anything, I just press my forehead on the table to hide the childish pout on my lips. Not that this is any better.
It was fine. The physician took some of my blood, and he scheduled me for a few lab tests tomorrow morning. I've already called for a driver and attendant to accompany me, so there's no need for you to worry.
And what? You'll just be leaving me behind then? And I don't think you should be going anywhere alone.
You hate hospitals even more than you hate farms, Luke. And Kylie's coming for your play date tomorrow, remember? Relax. I'm taking Johans with me if it makes you feel better.
Herr Dr. Hobbs asked that I keep her under observation for the time being. Naturally, I'll be reporting my findings at the hospital.
Sitting up, I run a finger over the rim of my teacup and mull it over. I do hate the bloody place. I thought hiring Strolkin would have been enough for me to avoid the place. Apparently not. Bloody doctors and bloody sick people. I don't want to catch anything contagious. I can't even tell crying people to shut up if they get too annoying. Respecting their grief, my ass. Save for a life and death situation, I'd rather avoid the mass graveyard that hid beneath the sterile air and white tiles.
I guess you two can go without me. But I can't believe how naturally you two conspire behind my back. Don't expect my help if those bloody doctors bleed you two dry. Vampires, every single one of them. Not as bad as lawyers and politicians, but close enough. You do know Carly will be upset when she finds out you're not here tomorrow. Again.
She'll be happy enough to spend time with her fairy godfather, I'm sure. You're a good role model for her, despite your whining.
No matter how many times Anna claims that whining is unbecoming of me, I never listen. It's not like anyone that matters is here to judge. Well, it's not like anyone else actually matters. I'll whine if I bloody well want to, and I'll be no lesser because of it. Of course, I won't tolerate another person's whining. Except perhaps for Hannah, but she hardly ever does that. Even right now, I can see as a look of pain passes on her face and her hand goes to her stomach. Yet she keeps quiet, not bringing it up or complaining. What should I do? Ask her if she's alright. Calling for an ambulance would be far too... if it's nothing bad.
Are you alright? Should we be concerned? Maybe we should bring you to the hospital now.
We're getting back up there. I will save this marriage if it's the last thing I damn well do.
I just feel a little queasy, that's all. A bit more tea in me, maybe some more sleep, and I'll be right as rain.
I've spent a lot of time around people who lie for a living, and I can't help but feel that there's more to it than just that. Maybe it is just as she says and I'm overthinking it. But I trust Hannah will fess up before things can get any worse. She's never really lied to me before. Nothing big, at least.
If you're sure, I'm just worried. You'll tell me if anything is wrong, right? You do know you can still trust me. That I do still care about you?
I know that. I'm just going to be moving out soon. Even if it is for a short while, you won't always be there for me.
Did you finish packing before you... I understand if you haven't, and I won't blame you if you've changed your mind after what happened. You can stay until you feel better.
I'm still moving. It isn't like you can't visit to check up on me. Although that does somewhat defeat the point. Luke, I'm a big girl. I'm going to get a checkup tomorrow, take whatever pills they tell me to get, and get over it. You really don't need to worry. I'm fine.
Oh, I do so hate those words. I hid my scowl behind taking a sip of the tea, fighting up the urge to hurl the cup at the wall. I'm fine, she says. A lie. Apparently the sour disposition I have, while not entirely born from my hangover, is still obvious. Without saying a word, Hannah puts her hand on mine and squeezes it tight. Her hands are cold and clammy. Her grip is weak. I can see the small tremors that run along her shoulders and the paleness of her cheeks. She's yet to recover from what happened to her. She's not fine. And I'm not either.
Fine. I don't need to like it, but fine.
I don't think either of us really like it. But I do think it is for the best.
Perhaps we should bring you back to bed. The sooner you are off your feet, the better.
Is that some sort of roundabout way of saying that you want to sweep me off my feet and take me to bed? This isn't our honeymoon. I need rest, mister.
I'm aware that this is the farthest thing from our honeymoon. This isn't how things are supposed to be. Hana isn't supposed to leave. I'm not supposed to let her. And if she ever did leave, it's supposed to be on my terms. Everything's going wrong, but I respect her enough to let her have her space, as she so puts it. If divorce is brought up, however, well, that's another matter entirely.
Really now, you shouldn't have gotten up in the first place. Breakfast in bed exists for a reason. Come on then, back to bed you go.
Are you going to carry me to bed then?
You're far too heavy for that. Johans could carry you, if you'd like.
Can you blame me if I enjoy food too much? I can walk, thank you very much.
I don't say a word as she clutches my arm to steady herself. Alright. Okay. Just everything. Everything! Again. You know what problems you have, Luke, but you're doing fuck all to fix it. Though it is completely obvious that you do truly love Hana. Alright, we'll continue this in the next one. Till then, this is Gamer Girl, signing off.